Hey you guys, welcome back to this homeschooling naturopath. My name is Hannah and I'm a homeschooling mom of 3 little girls who are 10, 8, and 6, and I'm also a fully qualified naturopath living and working in New Zealand. On this channel, I share content related to homeschooling, homemaking, motherhood, as well as little tidbits of naturopathic info throughout some of my content here. Today's video, I am giving you guys our 2023 curriculum hits and misses. So if you're interested to see what curriculum worked and what curriculum didn't for us in this 2023 school year, stay tuned.
Deep in the shadows, I know it's hard.
Alrighty, I have got a lot to share and a lot to talk about today, so I'm gonna try and, make every piece of curriculum as brief as I possibly can. It's going to be interesting to see how long this video ends up being. I'm gonna try to just get into it, you guys. So for us, down here in New Zealand, our summer months are December through to February. We have 3 months of summer, and so that means our school year runs from about February through to December. So our 2023 school year started around the beginning of February this year and is now coming to an end. We are now in December, and that means that we here in New Zealand are wrapping up school. Public school will finish around mid-December, and here in our homeschool we are just doing Christmas schooling now. We have pretty much finished all of our other curriculum for the year, and we're just kind of easing into a holiday mode here. So with our year coming to an end, I thought now was the perfect time to share with you guys our curriculum hits and misses for this 2023 school year. Also, before I get into it, I just want to point out that none of this curriculum is bad curriculum. I am not here to bash a curriculum company and saying you should never buy this, don't waste your money, whatever. That is not what I'm here for. I truly believe that all homeschooling curriculum can be amazing. However, there are certain things that we didn't like in our family, and that is maybe just because of the season we were in, or maybe I wasn't 100% feeling it. It's not even, that maybe my kids weren't enjoying it. Some of the things were just things that maybe I wasn't feeling good in that season, and all of that. So none of this is bad curriculum. I'm not going to say anything overly negative about it. I'm just going to give a little bit of my feedback and whether or not these were hits or misses. So first off, for our group subjects, I'm going to be starting with science. So for science, I like to use Gather Round Homeschool. I love their units. If you have watched any of my videos, you know I'm a big lover of Gather Round, and particularly their science units. So to start this year off, in January, we started with Gather Round Oceans. This, you guys, I can't say whether or not this was a hit or a miss. I'm kind of in between, honestly. It was fun. We had a lot of fun with it. We had a lot of fun art projects. My girls learned a lot. We learned a lot from this unit. I think for me personally, I was a little bit disappointed with some of the content. I'm very used to Gather Round being incredibly in-depth and, connecting history and language arts and science and connecting all of these things, and I feel like this unit didn't really meet the mark for me in that regard. It was just a lot of facts. It was like, here's a seal, this is what a seal looks like, this is what a seal eats, and this is where a seal lives. Next animal, this is a walrus, and it was just kind of very fact based. Perfect doing this unit over our summer months, and so yeah, I think we enjoyed it for that reason. Would I do it again? I'm not too sure, but I'm really in between on this one. I don't know if it's a complete miss or a complete hit. It wasn't either, but we enjoyed it and we finished it, so that's a plus for sure. Okay, by term 2 of this year, which I believe started around April, that was coming into our fall months. By term 2, our history unit, our history study, what we were doing for history, just I could tell wasn't going to work out, and so I started searching for a Gather Round unit that was both our science and our history for term 2. So, and I'll talk about history in a second here when I do my history review, but for term 2, our fall time, I chose Living Off the Land by Gather Round Homeschool for us, and you guys, this one was a huge hit. Out of everything I'm going to show you guys today, I would say that this was my most favorite unit that we did this whole entire year. I can't say enough good things about this, you guys. My kids enjoyed it so much. We learned so much. We grew our own potatoes, we made candles, we did all of these farm visits for field trips, we built wagons, my gosh, I don't even remember all the stuff we did, honestly, but it was a lot of fun. Like, oh, we made water filters and learned all about how our ancestors dug wells, and we made our own water filters, which actually one of my daughters ended up taking to our homeschool science fair this year. So it would just like, this was such a fruitful unit, and for me it really hit home because I'm American, and some of my not even ancestors, like this, we're not even talking about that long ago. My father's family all come from Utah, and we learned a lot about the Mormon Trail, so I thought that was really cool. And it just really hit home for me the most. I think that's probably why I enjoyed it so much, but yeah. Big thumbs up for this one. This was a huge hit, and again, this was both our science and our history for term 2 this year. And then by term 3, the end of winter, we were sort of no, it was still winter time in term 3. And I think all of us were just really burnt out. I went into term 3 with high hopes that we could get through chemistry from Gather Round. I bought this unit as soon as it came out last year, I want to say, sometime in 2022. I loved the look of it and I thought it would be great. And I went into this unit with the highest hopes, but by about lesson 5 or 6, I realized that it was time to put it away, and so this unfortunately was a miss for us. This is absolutely not a bad curriculum. Like I said, I love Gather Round, but this was a miss, and obviously it's because of my kids' ages. And I knew that. I knew it was going to be a difficult one. We did a lot of fun experiments, don't get me wrong. In the 5 or 6 lessons that we did do, we made like homemade ice cream, and what else did we do? I can't even remember. I don't even remember what happened yesterday. Yeah, I was finding that I was having to do a lot more like prep work as far as experiments and things go, just because my kids are so young. They needed like a lot of hands-on stuff with this unit, and it was just too much effort on my part. And like I said, by like midwinter, the end of winter, I was done. I was burnt out. I had pushed myself too much, I did too much, and by the time this unit rolled around, I just had nothing left to give. But yeah, that was a miss for that reason, not because this is a bad curriculum or anything like that. That was our science for this year. I like to pick 3 science units for term 1, term 2, and term 3, and then come term 4, we're doing our Halloween and Thanksgiving and Christmas units. So that was all the science we did for this year. I will show you guys what I kind of replaced chemistry with in term 3. Like I said, we stopped it after about 5 or 6 lessons, and I did replace it with a few other things, which I'll show you guys in a minute here, but right now I'm going to move on to world history. So world history this year, when we started off in term 1, we started off with the last few chapters of Story of the World Volume 1, which I have misplaced. I don't know where it is. I've lent it to a friend sometime this year, but she did give it back to me, but I don't know where I put it after that. Anyway, long story short, I don't have it to show you, but I'll put a picture up. We finished about the last 10 chapters of Story of the World Volume 1. Huge hit. We loved Story of the World Volume 1. This was the curriculum we did for history last year in our 2022 homeschool year, and it was the most fun thing we did the whole homeschool year. Story of the World Volume 1 was incredible. And we also really enjoyed finishing it off at the start of this year with a whole unit study on ancient Rome. It was a lot of fun. We learned a lot, and it was great. Coming into term 2, I moved us into Story of the World Volume 2. And yeah, this was a miss. This was a miss, and it's really hard to even admit because I love Story of the World. Like I said, Story of the World Volume 1 was the best thing we did last year. We did history so well last year. And I guess I was just expecting the same from this for us, but yeah, this was a miss, unfortunately. In fact, where are we even up to? We're not even halfway through this. What chapter? Okay, we're up to chapter 15, and we've been working on this since about April this year. So yeah. I don't know if it was maybe my enthusiasm wasn't 100%. You know, with Story of the World Volume 1, Ancient Times, I love Ancient Times. Like, that is my jam. At university, I studied classical history and classical mythology and philosophy, and that was my jam. When it comes to medieval times, my passion isn't as heightened as it is if we're talking about ancient times. So I think that played a part in it. I wasn't maybe as enthusiastic as I had been with Volume 1 when it came to this. I don't know. I can't say exactly what happened with this, but it was a miss, unfortunately. When I realized that Story of the World Volume 2 wasn't gonna be working out for us, that's when I replaced our history with the Living Off the Land unit from Gather Round. We did that for all of Term 2, and then by Term 3, when our science and our history wasn't working, we started to just totally branch off from like specific curriculum companies, and we started to move into literature guides instead. This year I started up a book club with our homeschool group, and every month we had a new book, and it was a really great opportunity for me, and it was a very fun one to try and find literature guides to go along with some of our book studies, and it turned out to be a huge blessing because as our history and our science wasn't working for us by Term 3, I just replaced history and science with our literature guides and our book club book study, and it was amazing. It went beautifully. I've only got 2 literature guides to show you guys. However, we're now on our 6th book. I didn't do a literature guide for every book just because we didn't have time. Just because. But the first literature guide I have to show you guys was this literature guide here from Barefoot Within the Trees, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. This was our first book that we started with. I believe we read this in August this year, and it was so much fun. This literature guide is a huge thumbs up from me. This was a huge hit. Oh, we all loved it. I had so much fun reading this book to my kids and using this literature guide, and my kids had such an amazing time with it as well. So I sort of made this unit become our science and our history for the month of August, and it was perfect. It worked beautifully. We learned like all about the history of the cocoa bean and chocolate, and we went on a beautiful field trip to a chocolate factory here in the city we live in. We had an amazing time with our book club, using this unit and all of that, and it was just a beautiful time. We did a lot of chocolate art. We ate a lot of chocolate. We got together and watched the movie Charlie and the Chocolate Factory with our book club. And yeah, it was just beautiful. I can't think of any. We did a lot of science and like history related stuff when it came to the cacao bean, and actually this unit incorporates a lot of history throughout it as well. I'll just try and find an example here. Okay, so it talked all about like the Aztecs and just a huge history of the cacao bean and, slavery and the slave trade. And we talked about colonization and what that looked like. And, we talked about what happened, in Africa and what's happening in the rainforest still to this day, and where most of our chocolate comes from. And we talked about what fair trade means. And there's so much in this unit, you guys. It was amazing. Yeah, so big thumbs up for that. Oh, some golden tickets falling out of there. Yeah, that was a lot of fun using that literature guide as science and history in the month of August. And then the other literature guide I have to show you guys, which also, was taking the place of our science and history by this point. I believe we read this book, Charlotte's Web. We read that, I think it was in September, which was our springtime. We had just come out of winter by then, and it was spring, and so Charlotte's Web was our spring, September book club. And I chose this literature guide from Hearth Magic off Etsy. It's called Some Pig, and this was an amazing literature guide. This was also a hit. We all thoroughly enjoyed this. The only thing I was disappointed with was that we didn't get to finish it. We spent a whole month doing this, but it just still wasn't enough time. I feel like I really needed a lot more time to do all the art and everything that's in here. We actually still have these little Templeton rats that we never even finished in here. So, you know, maybe we'll get to those over the summer, who knows. But yeah, this was a big hit for us, and again, it was, you know, incorporating the science and history element to it. A lot of history about, you know, the history of farming and the science of farming. And we actually went on a farm visit. One of my friends has a little homestead. She now has a cow and chickens and all the farm things you can think of. And so, yeah, it was a lot of fun just, you know, in the springtime, seeing all these new little lambs be born and all these little baby pigs and all of that. It was a lot of fun. And anyways, so was pretty much our science and history for the month of September. And I'll show you guys what we then moved on to when it comes to like our holiday units by term 4. But I feel like I'm getting a little bit sidetracked. Apart from science and history, the third major group subject that we had this year was art history. So we started off the year with Gather Around's artist unit, and I was calling this art history mainly because that's what it felt like to me. And we started this unit off really strong for about the first 2 terms, I would say. We really enjoyed this. We were just picking one chapter every couple of weeks. We were going through it, one lesson every few weeks. And it was going really great. In fact, I've made some review videos on this curriculum already about how much we were enjoying it. However, by the end of term, again, like when winter came, by the end of term 2, it just fizzled out. Like it slowly just fizzled out, and I sort of forgot about it. The kids sort of forgot about it. We weren't having time to fit it in. Like, it just didn't really work out by term 2. So again, I don't know if this was a hit or a miss. I don't know. I can't pinpoint exactly which one it is. We did not finish this. However, I do intend to pick it back up next year where we left off and see how we go with it. So yeah, I can't say if this was a hit or a miss. Yeah, again, it's the amount of effort that I was putting in. So, you know, it's not a bad curriculum, it's the amount of effort, the bad amount of effort that I ended up putting in by wintertime. I don't know what else to say. Okay, and to go along with our art history, I got this picture study portfolio from Simply Charlotte Mason, and for this year I chose Da Vinci. This picture study portfolio, you guys, this was a hit. This was a big hit. I'll put some footage here of our kitchen wall because all of these pictures I don't even have to show you because they're all still hung up on our wall, and they have been there all year. Actually, as we studied them, we would just put each one up on the wall, and they're still all there. And it's actually amazing because when we have guests come over, they'll ask about the photos, and the girls are able to tell them, oh, well, this is the woman with the ermine. This is, I don't know. I can't even remember what's on there. Who have we got? Okay, The Last Supper. Yeah, some of these were just incredible stories behind the pictures, and my kids really appreciated them. And I'm definitely going to be looking at getting another picture study portfolio from Simply Charlotte Mason to study next year as well. Okay, carrying on. So as I was saying, with our history and our science sort of failing after our winter time here, around about August, September is when we switched gears and we moved into using literature guides for our book club. And after September, when we moved into October, I didn't worry about a literature guide, and instead I just moved us straight into our Halloween unit, which was all things spooky, and this also is from Barefoot Within the Trees. Absolutely love this unit, you guys. This was a big hit for all of us. Again, the only thing I'm disappointed with is that we didn't finish it. There is so much information in this unit. It would be impossible to try and get it all done. within 1 month. Like 1 month, the month of October was not enough time to finish all the amazing stuff in here. We really enjoyed it, and again, there's a lot of science and history throughout it, so it was perfect because I had put aside our science and history for the year. So it was really great to have this as a replacement, and it was just really cool, and we had a great Halloween this year, and we'll definitely be doing some more of this next year. Next Halloween, we'll be looking to finish the rest of this unit and potentially then starting over again the next year, who knows. But yeah, big hit, All Things Spooky by Barefoot Within the Trees. Then you probably guessed it, come November, we were studying Thanksgiving by Gather Around Homeschool, and again, this took the place of our science and history. Science, well, were we doing science? I don't know. And again, you know, because it was springtime, like we were out in the garden, we're doing a lot of nature study, so that to me counts as science for sure. But this unit definitely is more history based than anything. I can't actually think if there's any science even in the girls' books because this is a mini unit study, and I can't even think if there's actually science in it. But as I said, we were out in the garden doing a lot of nature study, so that was our science. Anyway, this was a big hit, you guys. Thanksgiving from Gather Around Homeschool. This is the unit that we did last year as well, and we did it again this year, and it's, yeah, a big hit. Really enjoyed. My kids enjoyed it, I enjoyed it, and yeah, big hit from us. Currently in the month of December as I am filming this, and we are at the moment working on Gather Round's The First Christmas. We did this unit 2 years ago, so 2021 we did this unit, and it was a big hit then, and it is a big hit now. We're only up to lesson 4 as I'm filming this video, but yeah, we're having an amazing time with it. We baked Rebecca's chewy gingerbread cookies yesterday. Delicious. My kids just really enjoy all the art and everything that's to be learned from this unit. And I also have here our unit that we did last year, which was Christmas Around the World. I have to say, we did prefer this. Between the two of them, we did prefer this one, but we are definitely happy to be doing this one again. Both big hits from us. Yeah, and so that is our Christmas study for the month of December and how we are going to round out the school year. Alright, you guys, nearly finished with the group sub. This is just the group subjects so far. Can you believe this is only group subjects? I don't know how many minutes I've been talking. It seems like a lot. Round out our group subjects here. I have got a composer study here from Simply Charlotte Mason, and for this year we chose Mozart. Do you think I have read this even 2 times? I had all intention to go through this and to learn about Mozart this year. It didn't happen. I may have read it at least twice. I may have. The thing is, and this isn't a bad curriculum, I mean, there's nothing wrong with it, but it talks about, okay, so when I first started reading it, right, it's a day in the life of Mozart. It's just a lot of big words, and it's like a full story. I don't know, my kids just did not like it. They did not enjoy it. We did listen to a lot of Mozart music, not even from the disc. I just put Mozart on Spotify. If you've never seen one of these, it has the, you know, the CDs inside of it, and then his story, basically his life story and how he became, you know, who we know him to be. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not even promising to try and do this again next year. It might end up sold. We'll see. Yeah, but we did like listening to his music at least. And it was nice to, you know, they would hear it and be like, oh, I've heard that before. And it's like, yeah, well, that's Mozart. Anyway, that was a big miss for us, but, you know, that's my fault totally. Okay, finally, you guys, our last group subject, not even counting anything we did, you know, just for morning basket. Our last group subject was Laying Down the Rails by Simply Charlotte Mason. This was a miss for us this year. Again, started off the year really, really strong. We started off with Obedience, which I think we need to go back to and revisit at this point. And I really liked it. Don't get me, I loved teaching this actually, and my girls really enjoyed the poetry and the literature throughout it as well. I don't know what happened. Honestly, I'm not sure what happened with this. It just sort of fizzled out like a couple of the other things you've seen. I'm definitely going to be trying this again though, starting it over again with obedience, and you know, just reiterating some of those things that we've already talked about. Yeah, but this was a miss for us. Again, absolutely nothing wrong with this curriculum. I love the idea of this, and I think a little bit more perseverance on my end would probably be beneficial for future reference. Okay, moving on now to my girls' independent subjects, individual subjects, if you will. I'm going to start with my oldest daughter, who turned 10 in October, so she was 9 for the majority of this school year, and she turned 10 in October. And she was in, as I mentioned before, 4th grade if you're watching this from the US, or year 5 if you're watching this from New Zealand or Australia. So these were her subjects, hits and misses, what we didn't like, what we didn't complete, what we set aside, and all of that. Again, none of this is bad curriculum. This was just how it worked out in our family this year. Okay, she started off the year, and this book is like totally falling apart now. She started off the year with The Good and the Beautiful Math, level 3, and you guys, this is a big, big hit. She's still got about 3 or 4 lessons left, which we are finishing off here in the next few days. Big, big hit, and she's enjoyed this, I've enjoyed this. She actually, I don't know, when she got to about halfway, and this is a hefty book, like this is a big old math book. When she got to about halfway, she sort of just totally went on this like independent route and just started doing the lessons all by herself. And so I really haven't had to even really teach her math for quite a few months now at this point, to be honest with you guys. Of course, I go through all the lessons, you know, with her afterward and mark everything and make sure she's understood. And she's flown through this. Like it's amazing. It's really beautiful. And we have loved this curriculum, and we are definitely going to be moving on to level 4 for her next year. From the Critical Thinking Co., she was doing the Mind Benders. This is a level 3. Again, well, I don't know if this was a hit or a miss. We have done all the Mind Benders up. This is the highest level we've gotten to at this point. And the level 1, the level 2, amazing. The preschool levels, awesome. This one was very hard. Like, this one was pretty hard for her. And I have to say, I had a lot of complaints from her over this curriculum this year. It's just a very thin book. It's like not even many puzzles at all. And she's actually done the majority of them. She's only got about 4 or 5 puzzles left, but they are the harder puzzles. So toward the back, they get quite hard. And it was to the point where like, I'm not very good at logical things, and I couldn't really help her with this, honestly, without looking at the answers. And it was kind of like my husband needed to help her. But you know, he's not always here, and it was a whole thing. So yeah, this curriculum did upset her quite a few times this year. But I do really love Mind Benders, and but I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sold if we'll move on to the level 4 or not for next year. And I can't say whether or not this was a hit or a miss, to be honest with you guys. From The Good and the Beautiful, this was their handwriting level 4. This was a hit. She completed this about halfway through this year, and she enjoyed it. However, we've decided together not to move on to the level 5. She doesn't really want to do cursive anymore. She didn't overly enjoy learning the cursive, and it's not something that I'm gonna push, honestly. Her handwriting is fine, so this is kind of just a filler. So yeah, this was a hit, but we won't be moving on to the level 5 at this point. Okay, and then finally for her language arts, when we started off the school year, I was kind of all over the place, and I don't know what I was thinking. But starting off this year, when we started in February, I started her on Fix-It Grammar, and this is the level 2, the Town Mouse and Country Mouse, and This, oh, I don't know. No, this was a miss. Yeah, this was a miss for her. I don't know. It's like really, really technical grammar stuff that I think was just way too, not too advanced for her, because she is quite advanced in her reading and writing, but like irrelevant is what I would say. It's too irrelevant for her age. It's not, I mean, it's not like she didn't understand the stuff or it was too advanced for her, but it was just irrelevant, and it was like, why am I learning all of this grammar? What is the purpose? And she just didn't really enjoy it. So we put this aside in about April this year. It only lasted about a term, if that. Yeah, but again, not a bad curriculum. It didn't work out for her and for us this school year. And along the same lines, I had her doing Spelling UC. This is level D, the Americana book. This was a very big miss for us, you guys. This again was put aside around the same time as her Fix-It Grammar was set aside. This lasted about 3 months, you know, about the first term. It was a lot of handwriting, like a lot of handwriting. It was so much writing, you know, like full pages of writing, and it just, yeah, it only gets more and more like as it goes along. So it's like, you know, yeah, full-on pages of writing and dictation. And I mean, her spelling isn't even bad. So yeah, she didn't even need this, and she wasn't enjoying it. Her hand would be getting sore not even halfway through all of that writing, and it was just too much for her. So this was set aside. This was a big miss for us. Again, not a bad curriculum. It just didn't work out for us this year. When I realized that the grammar and the spelling wasn't working out for her, I was kind of at a loss for what she was doing for language arts this year. But thankfully, the Good and the Beautiful Language Arts Level 4, we gave it a try. I only printed the first few pages initially, and then she decided she really, really enjoyed it, so I printed the rest of the book. The Good and the Beautiful Language Arts Level 4 comes with the course book as well as the spelling and writing workshop. She has thrived on this curriculum, you guys. Huge, huge hit from her and I love this curriculum because she does this all by herself. She has become incredibly independent this half of the school year with her math and her language arts. She just grabs them and does them, and we talk about it afterward, and it's great. I really enjoyed that. I also enjoy all of the depth that this goes into. It's got everything. It's got your spelling, it's got your grammar, it's got, you know, writing workshops and spelling workshops, and it's just got everything that you need in it for a language arts curriculum, as well as like cookie recipes. She made some shortbread a few weeks ago, which she's remade several times since. The artwork throughout this is amazing. She really enjoys the art projects, and it's just such a geography throughout it. You know, she's been learning about Belgium, and it was actually really neat. Her grandparents went away to Europe this past couple of months. They were over there, and they were sending videos from Belgium. And the one morning that they sent a video saying that they were in Belgium and they were like eating chocolate, Arabella was doing a lesson on Belgium that particular day, and she was like, oh my goodness, that is the wildest thing. And she was like sending them all the information that she learned about Belgium that day. It's super neat when a curriculum can inspire that type of joy and excitement. It was a really cool connection. Yeah, really big hit from us, and we are definitely going to be finishing this book and moving on to level 5. Okay, and then the final thing we also added to my 10-year-old's program, her independent work this year, was Gather Round's Growing Up with God, the level 1 for her, and this was a big hit. Thumbs up from us. She really enjoyed this. It's got some beautiful information throughout it. Very, very relevant for her age. I'm really glad I went, with the level 1. Perfect for her age range, you know, that 9-10. Yeah, the information in here was great, and it was a big hit for us. Moving on now to my middle daughter's work. She was 7 years old for the majority of the school year. No, she wasn't, because she turned 8 in June. So she wasn't. She was 7 for half of the school year, and she turned 8 in June this year. So yeah, that's what that is. And again, she is 2nd grade if you're watching this from the US, or year 3 if you're watching this from New Zealand or Australia. So first of all, for her math, we started the year with the Good and the Beautiful Math level 2. This is a very, very big hit from us. As you guys can tell, I love the Good and the Beautiful Math. My kids enjoy it, and it's just an amazing program. Like, I don't know what else to say about it. It's been perfect for my daughters. We did, prior to doing the Good and the Beautiful Math, we did teaching textbooks last year, and it just wasn't it. So this curriculum was a godsend, honestly. Again, a very hefty book, and it's starting to fall apart. She's got a few lessons left, which we're going to be polishing off over the coming days. But yeah, very big hit, and we're definitely going to be moving on to the level 3 for her for next year. Next up, for logic, she was doing the Mindbenders level 2, and this, you guys, is a big hit. We have loved Mindbenders. Like I already said, the level 1, well, all the kindergarten stuff, the level 1, the level 2 are great, really big hits. It was just that level 3 that was a little bit hard, but the level 2 is not. It's perfect for my 8-year-old, and this was a big hit from us this year. And I don't know. I don't know if I'll move her into the level 3 next year, just based on how hard it was for my oldest daughter this year. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. We'll see. But this one, level 2, was a hit for sure. Okay, next up, she was doing the handwriting level 3 from The Good and the Beautiful. This was a hit. She finished off the book again, you know, within the first 6 months of this school year. However, I chose not to move her into the level 4, and we probably won't be continuing with handwriting. I don't know. Again, like I said, I feel like it's just a filler, and I mean, they're already writing so much in other subjects anyway, so I don't know if it's totally necessary unless your child really needs it, and mine don't. So yeah, but this was a hit. So as part of her language arts program, I also had her doing Fix-It Grammar. This is the level 1, the nose tree. And again, I don't know if this was a hit or a miss. She actually really enjoyed it. She had no objections to doing this curriculum. She had no problems with it. She thought it was fun, actually, and she really liked that she was working toward writing a whole story. I'm not sure exactly what the problem was, but we put this aside again around April this year. So it only lasted like the first term, and then I was like, nah, we need to put that aside. So I don't know. It was kind of a hit for her, but a miss for me. I just felt like it was too advanced for where she needed to be at. I think I felt like it was too much for her, even though maybe she didn't feel that way herself. I don't know. But I needed to focus more on her reading before we went into like deep diving into grammar. So that's where I felt like it just wasn't right for us. For this year, we needed to focus more on her reading, which I'll get to in a second here. And then along with the grammar, she was also doing spelling UC. This is the level C, Wild Tales. Again, she really liked this. Like, she had no problems doing this. She thought it was fun. She didn't mind the handwriting. It wasn't too much for her. But at the time, I just felt like I needed to stop. I needed to stop spelling. I needed to stop grammar. I needed to stop vocabulary and just focus on reading, because we just weren't there yet with her reading. So we put this aside around the same time as we did the grammar, and we haven't got it back out since. So as I said, we just needed to go back to like some basics and just nail down her reading. When we started the school year, I felt like she was reading at a good enough level that we could go into focusing on grammar and spelling, but I sort of changed that thinking, when we got to about the end of term 1, and we stopped everything else and just went back to focusing on reading. And to focus on reading, I go to All About Reading. We were doing the level 2 this year. This was a big hit. It always is. I love All About Reading. I think it's the best reading program out there. It's so fun and interactive. She loves it. I love it. It's a really great reading program. And this was the majority of her sort of language arts for most of this year, was just focusing on reading and reading a lot of books, really nailing down, you know, pronunciation and all of that type of thing. So yeah, this was a hit, and that's where we were up to with that. To go along with what she was doing and all about reading, I also found this random little reading notebook at a local store here in New Zealand. I'm not sure if they sell this in the States or not. It's by School Zone. And this is the 1-2 beginning reading, ages 6 to 8. This was perfect for her. It was perfect for her to be able to practice her reading skills and comprehension, and then as well as her writing and spelling. It's just like really colorful, what is it? Like colorful, there's like, you know, poems. So you read the poem and then you answer questions about it to test your comprehension. And this is something I would have her do all on her own. It wasn't something that I would like read it all to her and then read all the questions and she would just tell me the answers. No, like in order for her to really practice her reading and comprehension, this was something I wanted her to do all by herself, and she managed it and she actually really enjoyed it. And so this was a hit from us. Yeah, I don't, like, we probably won't be moving into the next level or anything, but it was nice just to have as like a little, you know, sort of filler and something for her to be working toward along with her reading. Guys, we are nearly finished, I promise. I've just got one more child to go. Luckily, I don't have that many kids, so just one more child to go, okay? Alrighty, my youngest daughter was 5 for the majority of this year. She turned 6 in September. And so here in New Zealand, we would class her as year 1, but if you're watching this from the States, she would have been classed as kindergarten, the kindergarten year level-ish. And so this is her independent work that she has been working on this school year. Okay, the first thing we started on this school year was The Good and the Beautiful's preschool course book. This is one that we sort of had been doing, you know, before she was even 5. We'd been slowly working our way through it, just getting to know our letter sounds and things like that. And this took precedence this year, and we actually finished it around, again, I think around April this year. We finished it, and I was really, really happy with it. This was a hit for us, nothing wrong with it. I think it's perfect for preschool level, but it definitely came to a point where it was almost too babyish for her, you know. By the time she was actually 5, yeah, you could tell that she was kind of getting bored of just practicing the same letter sounds over and over again. It definitely taught her the vast majority of her letter sounds, and I was very, very happy to have found a curriculum that did that for her. Once we finished The Good and the Beautiful's preschool course book, I did have kindergarten prep ready and waiting for her. However, I kind of felt like it was probably going to be too babyish. I don't think babyish is the right word. Too, you know, just not up to her level that she was at by that point. And so in about April this year, instead of moving to kindergarten prep from The Good and the Beautiful, I decided to transition her straight into All About Reading level 1. Again, by this point, you know, she was already 5. And we have been working through this. We're still not very far through this, you guys. We're up to, what lesson is this? We're only up to lesson 15, okay? And we have been working on this since about April this year. So slowly but surely she is really understanding. I am not one to rush through this. I think it's really, really important to just nail down the comprehension and really making sure she understands everything we're doing, as opposed to just like rushing through it. But I think moving into next year, I need to be a lot more consistent with this and, you know, really make it every single day, because that is when I have seen this curriculum work at its peak, is when it's incredibly consistent. So I need to really pick up my stuff when it comes to using this next year. This is a big hit, you guys. Absolutely nothing bad to say about this curriculum. I know I need to be a lot more consistent with this moving into next year. But yeah, this has just been amazing when it's come to teaching my little one how to read. Okay, to go along with reading, she has also been doing handwriting this year. To start the year, she did handwriting. This is the level K from The Good and the Beautiful. She completed this, I want to say about August or September this year. She really enjoyed it. This was a hit. Yeah, she really liked this, and I moved her straight into The Good and the Beautiful handwriting level 1 as soon as she finished this one, and she has really been enjoying it. The level 1 is, it's not harder, it's not difficult, but it is a little bit more handwriting than what is in the level K. So we only do 1 page of this a day, whereas with the level K, we were doing 2 pages a day. So yeah, but nothing wrong with that. She's going to continue this into next school year, and yeah, love it. This is a hit. Okay, for her math, we have been working through The Good and the Beautiful Math level K. This one again is one that I sort of started way back, like before she was even 5. I don't know what I was thinking, but we were doing this before she was even 5. And at the start of this year, I kind of realized that it was way too advanced for her for where she was at the time. And so I completely put this aside, and her and I just focused on playing games. I have a whole video on how to teach my kindergartner, in that video, I couldn't say that word either. Oh my goodness. I have a whole video on how I was teaching my kindergartner math. Oh my goodness. I'll link that down below because I have a whole video on it. I'm not going to try and repeat it again. But I talked about how this was just too advanced for her at the time, and so we were just focusing on playing games. And about halfway through this year, I was feeling like she was ready to pick this back up, and so that is what we did, and we have been working on it since then. We just do, I don't know, about 2 or 3 lessons a week sometimes. We don't do this every day because I don't want to overwhelm her. But yeah, this is a big hit. We are going to carry it on and, you know, keep going with it into next school year. And yeah, nothing bad to say about this curriculum. Finally, her last independent subject, her logic. This is the Can You Find Me, grades K through 1 from the Critical Thinking Co. So this is like the level below the Mind Benders from the Critical Thinking Co. And this is a big hit. She loves this curriculum. I love this curriculum. It's so much fun. She actually, I have to like rein her in when we do this because she'll sit there and do like 10-15 pages at a time, and I'm like, no, you know, you're gonna tire yourself out. Like, you can't, let's just do 2 pages, you know, you don't need to do the whole book right now. But she just really loves this. She loves the challenge of finding out, you know, what's what. And if you haven't, so it's just like fun little logic rhymes, and it's quite different to the Mind Benders. It's a lot more you know, young child friendly. They're just cute little rhymes and riddles, and then you have to solve you know, the riddle and decide which one is which type of thing. So yeah, she's really enjoyed that. This has been a hit. Alright, you guys, that is it from me. I feel like I'm losing my voice. I have just talked for so long. I don't even know how long I've been filming, but it seems like a really long time. But hey, we had a lot of curriculum this year, so hope you have found something of use for yourself when it comes to picking homeschool curriculum for your little ones. It's definitely a subject that I love. I love watching other people's homeschool curriculum reviews. So yeah, I hope this video has been helpful for you guys, and thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye!
Deep in the shadows